You're hearing a lot about AEO, GEO. I've been in some sessions about it myself, and I think the answer I keep hearing back is like, it's the future. It really matters. All the zero click stuff. It's kind of changing how we're thinking about attribution. It's changing all these different things. But then on the flip side, you'll hear somebody be like, yes, that's all true. But also, Google, the real difference is like Google has gone from 97% of searches down to 92% of like it's changing it, but like you're still getting 9 out of 10 people coming from Google or a search engine. So I'm curious what your where your kind of like overall stance is on it, and then maybe if you're willing to put a stake in the ground, like what you think the future looks like in terms of the next year or something like that.
Ooh, I love that. So in terms of AEO Geo, yes, it is all the rage. This literally comes up in every single conversation I have, whether it's with a client or a prospective or just someone I'm chatting with about SEO or executives. All they want to do is talk about AEO and GEO and AI search. So I do think this actually could be an exciting time for SEO and the SEO industry. Yes, traffic's down. That is the new normal, unfortunately. Most brands I talk to have suffered massive traffic losses because of AI search and AI overviews. That is just table stakes now. Traffic, the level of traffic has changed. And so that does need to be normalized with brands. And I think coming around to that new mindset that there is just not as many clicks to be had from Google. It's being changed. And, I go back and forth on, what brands quote unquote are entitled to or not. Yes, this is killing businesses for sure, but Google doesn't owe businesses anything. It's a search engine. And so it's unfortunate on either, on either side of the coin where it is businesses are suffering because of this, but also I think it's a good wake-up call for brands to really focus on brand building, which is also something that helps with SEO. When I talk with a brand and all they do is focus on SEO as their core driver for leads, conversions, like their business revenue metrics lives and dies on SEO, that's a big red flag because they haven't necessarily invested in building a standalone brand. And what I'm seeing now is that brands have had that kind of wake up. And I think it's really great to see that brands are trying to leverage the audience that they have better. They're trying to engage that audience better. They're trying to keep and captivate the audience that they have better, which can in turn also help SEO and it can help bottom line business metrics. And so a lot of the times I'm seeing traffic's down, but revenue can be up. And then at that point, is traffic really just a vanity metric? I'm an SEO. I've been in the industry forever. It's what I do. And me saying traffic could be a vanity metric, is kind of hard to think about, but you want to wrap your head around SEO is just one part of a brand, and I like to think about myself as being a good brand partner, not only an SEO partner, because I think it's a little short-sighted to think about only SEO when you need to be thinking about its impact and place in a larger brand. So that being said, I completely agree with what you're saying in terms of Google is the dominant traffic driver. You don't want to ignore Google. That is something that I actually have just been talking to folks about who are very bullish on geo, and all they want to do is focus on geo. It's like, well, you can't really throw away 90% of the market for this small share. That being said, you can't ignore the small share because it's going to be growing. And oftentimes I'm seeing the leads coming from these AI search engines being higher quality. And so it might be 5% of traffic now, but maybe it's contributing 10% of leads or something like that. And so I think trying to carve out, if I were to just like throw out some numbers in the wind here, I would say maybe 75-25%, like 75 focus on traditional classic SEO, 25% focus on geo. And because a lot of the classic SEO items and tactics and strategies will help with geo and AI search visibility. And so I do think there's obviously unique nuances you need to think about for AI search engines and growing visibility and understanding that audience. But the bulk of classic SEO, quote unquote, classic SEO tactics will help visibility in those search engines as well. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to encourage brands to think about 3/4, 1/4 in terms of focus there. Also get tracking in place. I'm a big fan of making data-driven decisions. And so making sure we know, is that traffic growing or is that lead volume growing? And if so, then yeah, that'd be an area to continue to invest more. SEO is a slow moving channel in terms of growth. And so maybe something that you invest in Q4 2025, you will see the benefits on, and maybe Q2 2026. And so do need to be thinking, 6 months ahead, at least, I think, when it comes to roadmaps and planning and execution. And so breaking up the geo and classic SEO is kind of what I'm thinking needs to be forward thinking. And this could be a really exciting time for SEO. It's an unknown, and obviously the industry's been very turbulent lately. It's been a big shakeup, the biggest shakeup, honestly, I think I've seen in 15 years. Bigger than Panda and Penguin back in the day, when we thought SEO was dying when those algorithms were released.
I remember that. Yeah.
That was a blip in time compared to what we're going through now. But I think if SEO thinks about this smartly, it's just another new avenue to gain traffic and visibility for brands.
It's exactly right, because what I've seen anecdotally is the people who are getting a good amount of traffic through ChatGPT, Claude, these different AI platforms, or just in the AI overviews, is they're getting it on the places where they're answering popular questions that people might ask, or questions that nobody else has answered, that it might be a little bit smaller, but nobody else has answered. And they're doing it in a very genuine, authentic way that is like really just trying to be helpful. I personally feel like that was already the way SEO was going. So the age of like, we're just going to gamify this and we're going to slam backlinks and we're going to put every single keyword in here and we're going to whatever, that was already, in my opinion, changing. Of like, yeah, you can go do that, but then when people land on it, it still has to be helpful. It still has to be well written. It still has to be engaging. It still has to have logical CTAs. Like, it still has to have all the stuff that makes somebody want to buy from you. So that, I feel like, was already shifting in a positive direction. This is almost just accelerating it. So if you're trying to genuinely be helpful, write content that engages with people, like really help align your content with what you're trying to do as a business, that will benefit you on both fronts, whether it's in AI or in Google or wherever. So I think, yeah, if you're being thoughtful about it, it can be an exciting time. If you're a media company who used to get 1 million visits a month and now you're getting 250,000 and you sell advertising based on your traffic, that's a problem. But for the average company who's doing enterprise sales or has a $50,000 average contract value, it's probably not as big of a deal if you lose some traffic, if the quality of what's coming through is still good.
Absolutely. And that's something where I think it flips the focus and importance back on the audience, on your target audience, even more so. Like you said, like SEO is already going that direction, but now it's just essential to go in that direction. Really, like, what does your audience care about? What are the questions they asking? Versus what do we see in keyword research tools? Like, what does your audience actually care about, and answer those questions. And then you should do well in these AI search engines. And so, because those are going to be the more conversational, long tail, long form questions that people really want to know, versus what's being picked up with keyword search volume.